So Kaz here again. I'm just here to show you what I'd call textbook fluke habitat. Let's see what we can find. So, liver fluke, we know it needs its mud snail host to survive and reproduce. Mud snails need mud. This lush area that's draining into the River Coca over there, really attractive to cattle and sheep, but it's very wet underfoot, and quite quickly you can see how muddy it is. So you can see in there. Now that is perfect habitat for the mud snail. Hence, it's very high risk for liver fluke. So, if animals are grazing areas like this, they're going to be at high risk of liver fluke infection at certain times of the year. So just something to consider when you're looking at your farm environment and you're wondering, should I treat for liver fluke or not? So you might ask, why can't we just drain those areas? Drier farms, no mud snail habitat, no liver fluke. I'd say there's two main reasons, maybe three. The first possibly being investment, but say that's not an issue, say there's no expense spared. I think the first reason is those habitats, as well as being good for liver fluke, are good for some really important species, and so farmers are interested in and invested in maintaining them. And number two is, in fact, they might be encouraged even more in the future to trap water in the uplands to reduce flooding downstream. So taking those two things into account, just going around and draining all the wet areas in the uplands seems less viable. And I'll show you an example of that water catchment idea in the next clip. So yes, on some farms that will be an option, drainage, perfect, simple as that, but it's not always or even often that simple. So this is a leaky dam, and I know what you're thinking, dams aren't meant to leak. Well, these ones are. You can see one here, you can see one further up there. Hopefully you can see the ones further down there. There's a series of these leaky dams all along this burn. These are at Alwinton Farm in the Upper Coquet Valley. Graham Dixon, the farmer here, put these in, and the idea is simple but clever. And you can see there at the moment, actually this is quite a fast flowing river. There's not a lot of dampness in the margins, not a lot of water actually being trapped, and so this isn't very muddy, it's actually nearly dry. So this you wouldn't call prime fluke habitat. When you have water at the normal flow, the normal volume, this isn't doing anything. However, say after a period of heavy rainfall, this burn swells. Instead of all that swell of water going down to the next burn and next river and flooding the villages of Alwinton and Rothbury, this dam, once this water reaches the level of this bottom board, causes this area to flood. And again, it's not a huge volume of water, each individual dam, but together they have quite a significant effect. And that's great from a water catchment point of view. However, if we think about unintended consequences, trade-offs, as a vet, I know that liver fluke needs its mud snail host to survive. What do mud snails need to survive? Mud, the clue's in the name. And when we flood this area, inevitably, we're going to be creating muddier conditions, especially if sheep are on this patch and they're coming down, say, to the river to drink, they're going to be traipsing in and out. So what does that mean? Does it mean this isn't worth doing? I don't think so. This is tremendous, and it's been successful throughout periods of heavy rainfall so far. Just means that maybe we plant trees to improve drainage. Might mean in the future, if it becomes a problem, fencing this area off, or simply not grazing it during the high risk periods for fluke. It's just a case of being aware, and if you make changes like this on your farm to the environment, of knowing how that might affect sheep health, because the two aren't obviously linked. So, leaky dams, liver fluke, plenty to talk about.